In other words, it's like a sharing network. It's not a party. For PAP, I'm not forming a party. Okay.
But listeners know, like, if they want to reach out to you or talk about initiatives or to collaborate, like, where can they find you?
If you want to send me memes, you send me on LinkedIn. If you want to be serious, you contact me on IG.
What's up?
And welcome to another episode of the KopiBros Show presented by Chit Podcast Network. Now, for this episode, we actually interviewed Jeremy Tan. So for most of our viewers, if you see the thumbnail, you'll know who Jeremy is. He's the independent candidate that ran in the last elections in Mountbatten SMC. Because he shared a lot of things. I want to ask Brandon, what do you think is the most interesting thing you heard from him?
It's really hard to pinpoint one, right? It's really very knowledgeable as someone that, especially for someone who's supposedly quite new in the political scene, right? The amount of experience he have, like dealing with everybody, especially, I feel like one thing is like when he shared about how Bitcoin like can really help like the Federal Reserve and what the layers that go behind it, right? It was so like letting you realize that actually why aren't we doing it like faster, you know?
So like elections, right? Normally we just hear like, oh, elections happen, people vote, then rallies, then got a lot of things. But like you hear how he described like, oh, like as an independent candidate, why did I choose to run in Mountbatten? I think the whole thought process was very interesting. Without further ado, let's tune into this episode. And welcome to another episode of the KopiBros Show presented by Chit Podcast Network. Now, today, we have a very, very special guest with us. He comes from a low-income family and he overcame a lot of significant hardship in his youth before he decided to start his own business and, of course, achieve financial independence before the age of 30. But his journey didn't stop here. He decided that he wanted to help other Singaporeans, so he stepped into the world of politics by running in the recent general elections. Though he didn't win, I think it's very respectable that he got 36.16% of the votes in Mountbatten SMC. Find out more about his whirlwind journey from humble beginnings to entrepreneurship and politics. Please join me in welcoming Jeremy Tan.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, man. Wow. I was very surprised you agreed to do this interview because I've seen you everywhere, and I rang my luck when I asked you only. Yeah.
My feeling is that like if someone wants to be an MP, if they knock on the door, what happens if they get an adversarial reaction? I feel like if you want to be an MP, you should be open to making friends, and also that not every door you knock on will be welcoming to you.
Yeah.
So my approach in this election and going to the next one is that I shouldn't close doors for myself at all. And I also think I should make more friends than enemies, because one more friend would be one less enemy, I guess. The MP is not supposed to be the leader of people. It's supposed to be, of course, it's leadership, but you are leading a team of people that supports the residents, which honestly are who you serve. People can find out who I am through your podcast. I am very glad to do this because I know that I'll be able to understand people better. I mean, it's very politically correct answer, okay? But I feel like as an independent, right, and I have intention to run as independent again, I don't think that I have that many bridges to cross even, so I should not burn any. I just feel like this is the right way people should approach. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So since the election just ended, because I read 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that I think all the finances and all the expenditure was just handed into the ELD, then it was released to the public. So is that what you have been busy with, or what have you been busy with recently?
Oh, so the funny fact is that just yesterday morning, they've sent out an email to multiple candidates asking us to send our audit documents.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Serious stuff.
Yeah. The funny thing is that people who receive the email, we're a bit scared, right? But then the question is, for those that didn't receive the email, you're not scared, man?
Oh, yes.
They require documents from us. At least there's information we haven't give them. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, so that one is easy lah. For me, there's only like maybe I think 8-9 invoices from local vendors. Nobody really from overseas. I have one vendor overseas, which was I did my I have a clapper with LED lights, but that one came one day after my rally.
Oh,
So that was not very good. I don't think I'll be able to invoice that also as my expense because I didn't use it for the rally.
really? Oh,
I didn't use it for election because the rules around those things is like whatever is expense for the purposes of campaigning from nomination day all the
I
way
see.
to it's very well defined. That's where I'm going with it. But that's not what I'm busy with recently. I've been busy trying to gather more. Of course, making friends like you guys. For the viewers that don't know, this is the second time we are attempting to record this because the first time my house had power blackout, some power trip somewhere.
Yeah.
Sorry guys.
No,
Yeah, just generally finding out about how to move on from here lah, like what the people want.
So we normally start our podcast interviews, right, by learning about the origins of our guests, and we would like to take it all the way back to your humble beginnings. So our research actually showed that you were raised in a financially struggling family. They will put it that way.
Yeah.
Could you share with us like how the experience was like and how that shaped you as a person?
Yeah, so when I was, I think, even in primary school, I skipped almost a whole year of kindergarten because my kindergarten was too far away from my house, and I skipped I think half of K1, simply because there was no means to get me to go to kindergarten in K1. Given that I stayed near my I stayed near my parents' workplace, but my kindergarten was at my uncle's underneath near my uncle's HDB. It didn't work out because initially the idea is that you have a family member taking you back and forth here and there, but it didn't work out. I think logistical issues. So there were days that in primary school I had to eat a lot of porridge and canned pickles. So the one that you just
Oh wow!
So for my entire, as far as I remember, between the age of 8 until 10, I ate almost every lunch was porridge pickles or porridge peanuts. Salted egg. Yeah. Salted egg is the only one that I feel like.
The rest all got trauma.
Salted egg, salted egg, squid. Nice. Nobody is innovating with canned peanuts.
As early as possible, you started working a part-time job, or do you have many part-time jobs?
But that was Sec 1 to Sec 2 lah. So all I did was I go to Sim Lim, find the paper, basically that little price sheet of all the different items. And then they were distributing on the streets, right? The traffic light. And then I'll take those price sheet papers, and what I'll do is I'll configure the lowest cost computer for my friends and their parents and their family. Because back then you could only buy from like maybe 3 or 4 big box, which is like Hewlett Packard, Acer, then Dell, right, which is very expensive because they outsell you a lot of crap like speakers then the monitor,
the monitor,
the keyboard, then the mouse with the trackball inside. But people wanted to not buy the whole package, right? So and then they used to upsell printer and and scanner, right? They used to do all that, right? And then it's all in one. And they used to sell those computer sets for like 4-5K. I told my classmates, you don't need to buy everything lah. If you have those equipment in your house already, you can buy a pre-built CPU. So that's what I did. I go there, I take the parts, I build the parts, and then install for them Microsoft Word, all sort of things, the basic stuff. Like I think back then we don't have Chrome, so we install Firefox. All of that. So the sourcing, installing, the building of installing the software, setting up and then back then you need to select the right drivers, everything. They do all that for $50.
Wow! Right? That's really very cheap. That's quite cheap level.
So I'll like carry the whole thing, and then what I worry about when I was younger, because back in the days, right, when you install computers, right, your CPU, right, must apply the thermal paste correctly. If not, the CPU will be too hot when you first turn on, and within like 30 seconds of the thing turning on, the whole computer will die. And because every part was so expensive, you need to be careful. If not, later you break a certain part, turn a certain pin, or like the hard drive. The hard drive back then is magnetic one. So all the HDDs, if you drop it, right, the magnet also, today SSD, you keep in your pocket, you walk one whole day, right? Even got rain
Yeah.
or what, so no problem.
Oh.
Right, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I had to do all of that. Go on Sim Lim to like friend's house in like, Bukit Timah, take one, I think I was like
Bukit Timah. Oh.
961, 970 from where,
Mm,
kind of
mm,
190, 190.
Ah.
Yeah, take those bus, go there, and then do all this stuff for like maybe until I was Sec 4 lah. Because Sec 4 need to study for O-level. Lor.
Most people would actually think of like, when I need money to do part-time job, I go and work at, the standard is always last time is work McDonald's, go work as a waiter.
Correct.
Like,
I think,
yeah.
But then I think because we are all around the same age, right? I think back then the flavor of the time was Starbucks is $8 per hour.
Yes.
Starbucks.
McDonald's
yes.
is $3.50.
$3.50.
Yeah. I remember this very clearly because last time also people would be like they do other things like wedding banquet one.
Oh yes, wedding
yeah,
banquet. Yes.
yeah,
$10 per hour.
yeah,
Free food, lunch and dinner provided. Yes.
Yeah, and then of course the heydays also board games cafe lah, right? Board games cafe, you go there. Okay, so I tell you why I cannot do any of this banquet and F&B thing. Okay, growing up, I have a very bad sinus issue. I will sneeze all the time. I cannot go to the hotel, right? See the abalone come out. Shoot one time. The whole week's pay gone already.
Yeah. My envelope extra chap, why?
Yeah. Say mango sago. Wait.
Wow, cannot lah.
Cannot do those jobs at all. Like it was physically impossible for me to do it. To the point that actually for this election, I made it a decision to remove my sinus. So I removed this sinuses in December 2024, I believe. Maybe December 2023, yeah. Because when preparing for the election, whenever I do mic tests like that, I realize nobody understand me. Yeah, I sound very nasal. So then for years I've been dealing with it. But the thing with sinuses is that as you get older, they become more used and then you get more and more infections. I decided that I would not keep my sinuses anymore, and I went to consult my friend, the doctor, and then she told me just take it out. So it was a 1-day operation, very fast.
That's good.
Yeah. So for people who sound very nasal, consider taking it out. It's very good because I have not visited a GP in like maybe a decade or so.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I took out my tonsils, took my sinus. If not, I will sound. I will sound like a chipmunk lah. Going to.
You'll be the next meme person during the elections.
Yeah. That's not what you want. Famous for wrong reasons.
Yeah. Which meme person are you talking about? Are you talking about this one?
Hey. I wasn't referring to anybody specific, but
Oh my gosh. I saw him recently do an advertisement on Facebook. Renovation advertisement.
Correct.
I think people should go into politics
for the right reasons.
As in knowing that the fame can hurt you also.
I
think it's good lah. Everybody can do what they want. I feel like this is what mature democracy should be lah. Because even within the incumbent party, there are many people who they know they are being targeted for their fame, for their connections, to make introductions, and to be a part of businesses that like value to other institutions that require the influence lah, right? And I think that in general is something that we need to be careful of lah. Don't anyhow take modes of transport as gifts lah, I guess. Yeah.
I want to touch a bit about your first business, which you started in university lah. Like Brandon said, right? Normally as university students, if we need money, we will go do part-time. But what made you decide like, hey, I want to start business to earn money? Then like, what was this first business about lah?
I was in year 2 of university. I had just came back from an exchange in the US. Okay? So at this point in time, things started to be a bit better. And actually, when I was in the US, some of the things that were very good, right, was that this was the first year of Obama, and this after the post-crisis. So a lot of universities, if you understand where the world was going back then, is that they were all trying to recover from the financial crisis. So what happened is that when I was doing an exchange in the US, the exchange rate was 1.19 USD
Wow.
to Sing dollar. Yeah, very good. So because
Yeah.
it's post financial crisis, right?
Yeah.
And because the Democrats were trying to win influence in battle state grounds like Florida, where I went to do an exchange. Okay, I specifically I went to Miami to do an exchange. So
Okay.
when I was there, I was in the debate team for the university. So
Mm.
every weekend that they fly you out, they let you stay in hotels. They give you 200 USD to spend. And
Wow.
back
Wow.
then, back then a restaurant in USD for $35 you can get like an entree, an appetizer, and a drink, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can still have leftovers. Those are the years, right?
Mm.
So if you count, you eat like maybe 4 meals on a weekend, okay, for Saturday, Sunday, you would still have leftover $50 to spend for like another good 3 days. But when you experience that and then you come back to Singapore, you start to think, okay, why are our civilizations so different? Okay, this is this is coming from a poverty-stricken background. So it's like I'm very confused. How can $200 stretch you so far? But it's because in the US, the universities spend so much money in providing so many things for the students. So you talk about like any networking session, there's donuts, there's coffee, there's a whole bunch of like napkins around, there's like cereal, everything. You do everything there. And then you come back to Singapore and then I realized, oh wow, you need to do internships and you do part-time jobs just to survive. And that's when I realized when I came back, I did an internship with Singapore Exchange. And while I was doing my internship with Singapore Exchange, that's when I started working on the skincare business. But prior to that, before I left on the exchange, from the time I ORD to the point I flew for exchange, I was actually a debate coach. So I coached, so I coached debate for River Valley, Li Hua, and Dunman.
Wow.
And Zhongzhen, and I also coach like Fairfield, Maristella, various schools. I was coaching 7 schools at the peak before I entered uni and up to the first year of uni. The pay was about 50 to 80 per hour.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Listen.
But once holiday come, you can forget it lah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with it. Yeah. It's if you win, then you get more because you win, then they need to coach more rounds in like the semi-final.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one was a big break for me in getting like at least amassing up to like 20-30K. And how I rolled that into business, there's a missing step I didn't really talk about in public, which is I first bought Tesla at $79. Around there. Yeah, this was the pre no split before.
No split.
Yeah. So then I bought Tesla at 79. I bought Bank of America at $5.56. So but then I sold at like 3 times profit, right? I think I'm a very smart guy already. I'm like,
way higher.
It's like when I buy Bitcoin, right? Only 6 that I kept from 300, but there were like hundreds of Bitcoin I lost along the way because I was just didn't think it's a real thing, right? Yeah. So then I'm like thinking I could have avoided doing business for the last 10 years. if I take my intern pay and just buy coaching debate 20-30K, bumped up to 80-90K, I think. When I first started trying to distribute skincare, initially I thought there was no distributor in Singapore for that brand. So what happened is that I decided to ask the US brand. I said, "Can I distribute for you in Singapore?" Like, dude, we have a distributor here in Singapore. And then I was like, okay, where are they located? They're located at Joo Chiat Road. You can go ask them directly. So I started buying and selling from the distributor, put the products in my bag, buy the cleanser, buy the moisturizer, sell to my friends while I was working in Singapore Exchange. So, yeah. So I'll take that. Yeah, so I'll be like, put in the bag, then I go to work, then I sell them, profit $5-6 a bottle. So for every 1 liter of product I sold, I make approximately $12 of profit. Approximately. Yeah.
Wow.
So that, can you imagine, right? You carry 5 liters of product in your bag. 5 kg just to make $50.
Yeah.
Eventually, the distributorship group ended their relationship with the US brand, and I took over lah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was a year before Strike opened in Singapore, and this 2 years before Strike opened in Singapore, and 1 full year before Ninja Van even exists in Singapore.
I see.
So I used to do my logistics with Takubin, and I used to do my logistics with Singpost.
Wow.
So what I would do is take each product, put in the box, cover it with those type of peanut foam, styrofoam, like that, put wrapping paper on top, seal the box, tape the box, and I would, back then no label tracking, so you just take the tracking paper from Singpost, right? You write on the carbon paper, then you stick on the box, then you tear out your carbon copy, and then you take the box. I stack a few, I put raffia string over, I take e-scooter to the local I take e-scooter to the postal center, then I drop it off. But then if they are closed, because last time don't have 24-hour drop off one.
Yeah.
Then nowadays have, and that's how I got started my business. So I would stay in my office, sleep in my office. So that was it. I mean, I spent like, when the chance came for me to be distributor, that's when I said, I will take over the rent of the office, I'll take over the inventory of the office, the furniture keep as such lah. That's how I went from there.
I just want to ask, right, would you recommend that university students start businesses when they're still in university?
I think actually don't even need to recommend. Every student knows they need to do what they need to do.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what you guys do on your side lah. Because these days everybody's got a side
hustle.
Yeah. I don't even know what's the main hustle these days. Honestly, I feel like every JC student, poly student should do something. Yeah, because the only issue is whether or not you need to incorporate a company for a bank account. But these days, if you're a student, you do anything, you say, "Oh, I'm doing this on the side." I think brands, by and large, they are quite welcoming to say, "Okay, we'll work with you." I think these days, the kids they're not as allergic to the word collaborate like our generation. These days, right? You say, "Hey, you want to collaborate?" Right? To them, it's like, "Yeah, it's fine." Last time collaborate like big thing, must have contract.
It's a very serious thing. Like,
what if what's your title? What's my title? This
must sign the document. Must need lawyer or not?
Then will he to me or what? But this is no such thing. This is no such thing. These days, right? Collect me just, hey, I do this, do that. Then and everything they do on Discord or LinkedIn, they first do the connection, then Discord they do all the work, then that's it. So I think students should do no choice lah. You all go and look at your HDB prices. Don't need to pass it yes or no. You cannot
cannot buy a house working at McDonald's anymore. Impossible. Actually, Jeremy, I wanted to just ask, right, besides your first business, right, that you mentioned, what are some of the other businesses that you actually like set up? Like we can tell already that there's really quite a few.
So actually the very first thing I did was to, other than computer building and debate coaching, there was one other thing that I tried to do, but I didn't really do too much of it. Contact management in real life, which is when you meet someone new, you want to know, this is pre-LinkedIn days. So I wanted to do something whereby when you meet someone new, you know how to manage the relationship with that person. Within a few 5 to 10 seconds, which is like, for example, let's just say 3 of us, right? I say, hey, I'm really interested in keeping in touch with Brandon. Then, Jiong, if you don't mind, because you're close, right? I tap on your connection. So then
I would love to have this service.
So then I'll be able to know what birthday gifts is that, or like what other things. So it's like a Tinder for real world connection. But then there's the party network. Right? So then I never got around to doing it because the skincare business took off. Right? And then while I was doing the skincare business, so because I had a lot of warehouse space, sometimes when you expand past a certain point, you get excess warehouse space. It's the same problem with all our e-commerce people have. Like, for example, Prism, they have warehouse space. Strive, the access to warehouse space, the Aftershock guys, all the local e-commerce people have. Because in Singapore, there's not a lot of like in-between options. There's not like small warehouse to big warehouse. a lot of in-between one. The in-between is very costly. So sometimes you end up either being too small or then you get too big. So then I did training venues. So you go down there, conduct your skills future courses, everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So I rent out outfit those things. And those were profitable until COVID came along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even had one venue whereby the landlord asked me, "Are you sure you want to continue with your contract?" This is after alpha variant. I'm like, yeah, alpha variant over already. Overblown. Then Delta come. I'm like, the Delta is done, right? Then the Omicron come. I'm like, yeah, shit. Training venues. And then the worst thing is that it's not that training venues are no longer in need, but it's rather that people believe they don't need to be in person to learn, right? So then the whole model just died.
Changed.
I'm not sure if you all knew about like my mechanical keyboard business. Yeah.
Oh.
So I had a mechanical keyboard business that did very well during COVID, and because I started it before COVID. So I was very lucky to get my first batch of mechanical keyboards to sell in December 2019.
Oh, wow, that's really very long timing.
Yeah, back then it was known as Wuhan bad virus. Right?
I
remember in Chinese New Year, everybody was like, "Hey, you don't go Wuhan, you know."
Yeah. Hey, be careful, be careful. Don't eat bats anymore.
What's that? Kung flu, what's that? People say kind of thing. Like I went from selling like $2,000+ of keyboards a month to maybe like $50,000 worth of keyboard within 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like, oh, okay, this is purely luck lah. So because honestly, it's very hard to catch something like that. So where the luck faded was that eventually people went back to work and people started wanting to do revenge tourism spending instead of buying things.
Yeah.
And then I expanded into a shop when the lockdown finished. So that was not wise. But what happened also was that the real thing that killed me was the tenant didn't pay the rent. As a subtenant, the tenant didn't pay a rent to the landlord.
Oh.
Yeah. So then I was thinking if I want to sue him for like $500,000, and then I found out he's bankrupt, so I would not be able to recover funds at all.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So then that I was like thinking, okay, maybe I didn't have much appetite in doing businesses already because I was doing entrepreneurship for so long.
Yeah.
I got tired, then I just decided to take a break. Yeah, that's when I started thinking about fighting the PAP. But
you said you say yourself, entrepreneurship you did a bit too long, you feel a bit tired. But don't you find that you decided to run elections will be even more tired, man?
Honestly, I think with the hubris that every other party have, I think all of us thought we could win this time. As it turns out, it's already very difficult for Lao Jiao parties to win. Turns out it's even harder for independent people to win. Honestly, I thought even my uncle, who is a very active grassroots person, also asked me. He told me in very earnest terms. He's like, I know you have all these ideas, you are different, all that, but you are not going to win this time. Then I told him I said, I'm ready to lose this time and I estimate that my vote share will be around 35% onwards
Wow.
And the question is whether or not I can cross the 40% mark. As it turns out, Mountbatten has the highest absenteeism rate, the highest Ponteng rate of all Singapore.
Yes.
And I think this is the record absenteeism rate. So I was also like, okay, I totally did not see this coming, that it will be the record absenteeism rate. So I did not think through that May 3rd to May 10th, the election, if you hold it in May 3rd, I think you get a very good chance of high absenteeism because May 10th people might be coming back already. Because May 3rd is a long weekend. Right? I mean, fundamentally, people who fly overseas have been so, or work overseas, or even they stay their family overseas, right? Partially uprooted. So the people who are able to make such decisions in life tend to be discerning voters. Not in the sense that the people here are not discerning voters, but people who have traveled multiple places, they make a lot of thorough decisions in life, and because they are mobile, they may not need to care about the local scene as much as the people who are generally here. That's how I read it. Right? I mean, that's the thing that I really did not expect at all. I expected that okay, I'll have good odds. So anything from 35% was upside. How come even during the counting center, I was like, how come I'm getting stuck at like 30+% here? Because the eventual number was
Not going up.
6.1. It's not going up. It's just not going up there. And at that point in time, because 9 days of election, I was so shagged that I didn't realize, hey, what about the people that never come?
Because most people that want to run, they will join a party. So why do you decide to run as an independent candidate, and like why do you decide to run for McPherson specifically?
Mountbatten. Yeah.
Mountbatten.
Yeah. Sorry, Mountbatten. Yeah. Sorry.
Although. There's a chance.
Although I thought about the only 3 places I wanted to run for was Marymount, Mountbatten, and
Okay.
McPherson.
Oh.
Yeah, but towards the end of my research in 2024, I realized McPherson and Marymount cannot run because I had no advantage at all.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the initial idea, see, this one for the PAP people listening, this is my initial idea. Okay, do what you want with it. Okay, so with Marymount, my thinking is Gan Xiaohuang didn't do start SkillsFuture, but she's the manager of SkillsFuture. She pulled 50+% the last time. So I thought to myself, let me go and find out what Marymount's about. So I go and volunteer in groups in Marymount.
Wow.
Okay. And then I realized this place is sterile. Anything I say has no value to an environment like Marymount. Simply because Marymount is very industrious. There's a lot of it is where Raffles is. There is no real advantage that I can build because nothing I say can be built there. And
I see.
Okay, then I also thought, okay, because Gan Xiaohuang scored 50+% the last time. Generally, for ministers that score 50+% the previous time, they're gonna overdrive, work very hard for the next one. So I go around, I see the blogs, I see the CC, I see the initiatives, I poll the sentiment. I realize, and I also do the volunteering work, and then I realize I cannot perform here at all. Yeah, and for McPherson, I didn't realize that Tim Pei-Ling has gotten so much strength in McPherson.
Yeah.
Until
very
I did a bit of questioning, and then I realized, okay, it cannot be done. And then I was initially quite dejected because I was like, where else can I run? And then I looked at Mountbatten, and I realized nobody will think of running Mountbatten. So from a business mindset, it's like if nobody think they'll do right. I think all the more you should do. Yeah.
Oh.
True.
Yeah. And then I wanted to bring Bitcoin into a place where people can understand. So when I think, rich people know this is possible, can try. Yeah. So that's my general decision making. There's other stuff that next time I can tell you all about. But generally the decision making is like that. Don't fight in places that people think it's where they think they will fight. But fight in places where you think you fight best.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the way I see it. Because I came from humble background and I did businesses, so I can sort of speak to either side of the field, right?
Yeah.
It was either Mountbatten, or if they anyhow carve somewhere else out in the east or in the Thunderbug area, then I'll go back there because I grew up in Thunderbug area.
I see.
Yeah. But I feel like Mountbatten, at least I understand the area very well because 10 years ago, I started my business. It's in Chit Road. I had to take bus from Thunderbug to Chit Road. So then I understand the whole compact very well. So I decided, okay, this is where I have strength. This is where it can work. Yeah, as it turns out, PAP stronger.
Why do you choose to run as an independent candidate instead of like joining a party?
Sorry, I missed just now when you said about resources, but let me get to it now. I feel like people tend to forget that resources is not necessarily good if you spend it on too many mouths. So when they're party, you tend to have too many opinions. You tend to have too many dissenting voices, right? And a lot of agendas. So okay, let's just put it this way. PAP is a party, right? If they have a lot of resources, right, there's already a structured way to disperse those resources. And there's a structured way to gather more resources. With political parties, when they say, do you need resources in opposition? If you go and really speak to all the parties which I have, even you want to organize an event for, like, say, the budget is 4,000 to bring in 220 250, 200, 300 people. Even if you do that and you tell your party, I want this money, right? You will face resistance. So if I'm facing resistance to organize an event for 300 people, but I am supposed to toe the party line per se, the resources are locked. In very simple parlance, there is no real value in joining a party that claims has resources and but doesn't disperse those resources or don't know how to manage those resources. And then if you talk about the absolute number of resources, my spending is around 16 plus K. And this is including one rally for myself. And I know most of the rally costs because a lot of the equipment is booked out in Singapore. So I cannot pay a low price, I must pay a high price. This is surge pricing. This rally surge pricing.
Supply and demand. Really.
You see your Grab. How come $34 to go from Raffles to Ang Mo Kio? I think people need to stop associating party equals resources because it's about usable resources and how fast you use those resources. Some of the things that I spend on like search price printing, I have to spend on usually they spend 2K to print this in Malaysia, but it's going to be like 700 if you print in Malaysia, but 2K for you if you want it fast. I realized that you double the cost, but the absolute cost is still 2K. Right? It's not like if you cannot find 2K, you shouldn't be going to run your country, right? If you as an individual cannot find just about average 20K to run the campaign for 20,000 people, 22,000 people, you should not be running the country. You should not be running for elections. If you don't know, if you cannot be resourceful, you don't go and try to be an MP. Because a lot of them want to be MPs, right? Fair. But do you know that when you're an MP, you're going to have to solve a lot of problems without resources? A lot of it, they say PAP got resources. But actually, a lot of the PAP MPs I know, right, it's like scream and save. And I'll give credit to them that they really do it right, on the fly, saying, hey, bro, help me out with this. Just help me with this. I don't want to raise the invoice for this. That's the nature of being resourceful. That's what you need to. That's what you need to be an MP. And everybody's saying the party we have resources, but what is the cost of taking that resources to be deployed? I don't think it's straightforward as that. And I think I think a lot of the older political parties, they understand, the political elders, they understand it. But for newcomers joining parties, they should be aware that there's a cost to the resource. I guess maybe because I come from a startup standpoint, I have never ever seen this as a problem, or rather I've already gone through the ringer and understand that resources come at a cost. So it's where you find resources. For PAP, what's the cost to obtain the resources that PAP want? Significant amount of time with no problem. In other words, they must know your track record is super clean, right? Nobody bullshit. Nobody says bad thing about you. You should not be involved in this, that. So you get access to high quality resource because you're high quality for 10 years, at least generally, right? From the time you graduate to the time you run is about 25 to 35 years old, it's like around the time. You only get access to high quality resource because for the last 10 years, ever since you were a child, you've really put in the work to show that you are worthy of that resource. But in opposition parties right now, there's just generally no such structure.
I feel like this is what a lot of people have that misconception because people always say, wow, PAP can always win. I think that some of the older generation always say PAP always win because their resources got so much. But new parties, they got no resources at all. So that's why they can always win. But actually it's because that they really can handle it very well, and that's the reason why sometimes as a party it's really very hard to get the allocated resources that you want.
Okay, let's be blunt about things. ESP, who is their major donor? Openly public, is Chingbok and Sen Yang. You think they got no resources, man? But why did they lose worse than SDP this time? Right? Certainly the question is not about resources here, right? So there's gonna be something else, all that. And then you look at SDP. If you go and seriously scrutinize the number of years SDP have been around, it's also not a question about resources. Right? And look at SDA. And SDA Desmond Lim is a very nice man. I have to say this publicly. I really respect him. He's been giving out free meals to his charity, even though he knows that publicly election thing is election thing, but he knows that he wants to pass a torch, right? It's not a resources question with him because he is also under Cham Si Tong before.
Yes.
So even talk about like just knowledge transfer, he's good at it, right? Can people stop they're talking about resources as if like it's some like wow, we're getting what the more you join as political party, we have 2 million per candidate to spend. No lah.
Yeah. That's really so crazy. So I want to dive into that your election slogans, right? Especially one of them is that we should invest our CPF pension in Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin should be added to Singapore's official reserve. So I believe that there will be some viewers that don't really quite understand what Bitcoin is. Could you, in your own terms, right, layman explanation to what Bitcoin is?
The way I describe, actually, a lot of these learnings also because of the election campaign, I start to understand why. It's not that people don't understand Bitcoin. It's people don't understand the fiat system. It's easy to explain Bitcoin as a technology. Use this wallet, withdraw here, deposit here, click this, click that, child seed phrase, store cold hard wallet, multi-signature wallet. You can don't buy a wallet, also can. It's easy to understand that. What's harder to understand? Why do we depend on a US dollar system? Right? That is the harder part to understand. That's the part that requires understanding of the history of the US dollar, why we align with the US, how come China doesn't want to be a currency for the world, and why we have no choice but to continue with the US dollar. And this is our question because there are also many participants in the US dollar system. So when I speak about the CPF and I speak about our reserves, all Singapore dollar reserves or all Singapore dollar in your CPF is not an asset that you think it is. It is a claim. In other words, one Singapore dollar can be perceived by other countries to be of different value. Brunei perceives it to be 1-to-1. Indonesia perceives it to be 1 to whatever it is, right? Malaysia is 1 to 3.1, maybe 4. CPF, every dollar of your retirement fund is a dollar of claim against the government. You believe that they will pay back in some point in time in the future. When I say add Bitcoin, it is not weakening the Singapore dollar. It is about strengthening the quality of your claim. So the Singapore dollar will be strengthened by the fact that it is now backed by more Bitcoin. So we have roughly about $500 billion worth of gold and US dollar and other foreign reserves. That is the reason why people see Singapore dollar as something they would swap out their currency for. But if we add Bitcoin inside, the question that we ask ourselves is very simple. Is it helpful or is it negative for our country? I think one of the biggest, most important point is I will try to make is under Joe Biden's administration in the US, it is okay to not be pro-crypto because they were very anti-crypto in the US. They were debanking people. They were trying to stop crypto laws, all that sort of thing. But under Trump's administration, you don't have a choice but to be pro-Bitcoin. And for me, this is existential. In other words, if we look at where we were in history, and I brought this up in my rally itself, which is at one point in time, we saw the British pound collapse because they were not backed by the silver, not backed by gold, anything like that. At some point in time, they moved on to the US dollar, which was backed by gold. They did it quietly. That should be our approach as well. But based on my groundwork and based on knowing what's going on, but it's not a bigger part of our life in Singapore. So that's why I realized that there was a structural issue that we need to address. Half of the things that I do in life with regards to understanding how parliament works, the other half of me is that I see sometimes there are huge changes in the world, right? We cannot ignore. We cannot take each election as if, right, it's a minor upgrade of the previous election. Right? And I decided that election is the best way to put my message across. So, for example, in the last 5 years, since the last election, what have we seen? 80% of all the US dollars ever existed printed last 5 years. What have we seen? We also see that Trump's administration, they're going to print even faster, even more, and that's going to debase the US dollar. And we have a lot of US dollars that are going to be more worthless as we go about. Right? So that's why Bitcoin is the answer. Right? And what have we seen in the last 5 years is that America is starting to not enforce its rules-based trade order in the world. And that's a problem for Singapore because we depend a lot on rules-based trade, which is Your oil come through this port to this port to this port like that, it should be taxed this way. Your electronics come this port to this port, it should tax this way. Tariffs are a breakage of such rules that were existent for maybe the good 30 years since the Clinton era. The question to ask ourselves is that, okay, if so much chaos is abound, then what is our insurance? And it cannot be the yuan, because the yuan is something that can be devalued anytime based on China's macroeconomic, and you know, China is also having some trouble zone. So it cannot be more US dollars because they are the problem causer. So in looking at all this, it does look like Bitcoin's a way better solution. So and then I realized that there was no other way but to join politics. Getting ridiculed is one thing, but I feel like it's important for us to at least look at this issue and be like, we have already so much gold already. But, with so much gold, but it's like how much more gold
how much more gold can you possibly buy? Now gold prices all time high.
Where you going to find the gold? You have to go and mine the asteroids already.
In your opinion, right? So how do you feel that Bitcoin can actually support and improve like the social policies of Singapore?
It's a good question, because I don't think the challenge is that far out. No, I don't think it's like a matter of say, buy Bitcoin, how my life easier or harder. A lot of our system is already very tightly run. So when we spend how much on eggs and buying eggs, chicken, all the poultry, everything we buy in food area, it's really very tightly run. The question is whether or not we feel comfortable enough to reduce on things like housing. Okay, because this is why I joined politics, because some arguments I cannot make it as just a private citizen in an economic sense. I have to make it in a political sense, which is even though HDB is affordable relative on some metrics, which is like the median income relative to price, even though it is globally we are one of the top 5 places for this type of affordability, I don't think that is a full picture of affordability in Singapore. A lot of affordability is also knowing you have assets. In other words, if for example you procured a BTO in your 25-year-old, by now you are done with almost half the payment. You are more willing to travel. You are more willing to start business. You are more willing to go out and spend. And that's why the Gen Zs don't go out and spend, don't go out and drink, don't go out and do anything at night. Why is that so? Because they know for a fact that it's just on real economic terms, they are spending the paycheck to paycheck. They are not. They don't know when they'll get their house. And for the reality for them is, they may get their BTO done at 38 years old, 39 years old, right? Because they will only have enough savings when they are like maybe 31. Then they build finish maybe 35, right? But if you miss one BTO exercise, you swear you cannot get like one batch of BTO exercise. You wait 2-3 years, right? The next one for you is like you get it at 38 already, right? That's a reality for some of our friends, right? So in that time from when they graduate until they get their flat, there is no risk-taking behavior.
I see.
They will not try to do businesses. They will not try to do things that are crazy because they haven't secured that. They don't have the idea that maybe if I try, I fail, right, I can get my house still. Actually, I worked first 2 years. I bought car already, 50 plus K. Can buy car already. Today the KACOE I just saw 100 and what K.
100. Work 3 years already. Don't can buy half the people.
Exactly. I was like, can or not? Can the government fundamentally say, okay, we can relax on housing? Because I fundamentally think that the government extracts all competitive energy out of the next generation by making housing prices not market competitive. And the reason why I say that is because all land is owned by the state. They are able to control land pricing no matter what. No matter what. The proof is in the pudding. You are able to create low-cost rental housing. Correct? Right? So in other words, you can control land pricing. So then the question is, why are HDBs built like that? It is not because they want HDBs to remark some affordability measures, because HDBs have gotten cheaper in terms of construction costs in the last 30 years, improvement factor of at least 15%. So the question is the system built for you to be hyper competitive? And the reality is it is meant to be hyper competitive. It is meant to be, and the PAP has also admitted that. Philip Yeo also say he rather kidnap scholars from Vietnam, Malaysia, China to supplement the workforce here. Okay, are there flaws in this design system? I'm not saying that
see.
everything you do is bad, but if you design it in such a way that importation of labor creates the highest competitive workforce, then what are the criticisms of that system? And that is why I joined politics. That's all.
For people that want to invest in crypto or invest in Bitcoin, right? What are some of the crypto and Bitcoin that you would advise them to take a look out for or to take more notice of?
Firstly, I cannot say it's advice.
Okay. Or what are you currently looking at?
Or maybe I can say whatever I'm about to say is bad advice.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on various financial podcasts talking about this, but I think people, if they want a hassle-free, brain-dead portfolio, it will be a 60% strike, which is a perpetual class MicroStrategy, and 40% Bitcoin. So you get some income, you get some Bitcoin, and you get some defensibility. Yeah, everything flows around interest rates in the world. So those two asset classes have a defense and offense element to it, lah.
I see.
Yeah. So it's called the Radical Portfolio by Jeff Park, PRK. I think people can go Google that. That's the only thing I recommend. Everything else requires sophistication, so I don't recommend that. If people were to be a bit more adventurous, then they can look at yield products. So yield max products are interesting. They can also, today's NTT REIT is, I think, oversubscribed at 10x. So I think people can go and look at it. Brain off, don't need to think about investments all the time. I think what I said, the Radical Portfolio is a bit better lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think by and large, more decisions is more mistakes in general. Also, running a Bitcoin for me, it's an advantage I wanted to get across to the people, which I don't think I did successfully, was that Bitcoin is buy and forget. Don't need to think. There is no earnings, there's no cash flow, but that's a feature, right?
Yeah.
There's no counter, there's no manager, but that's a feature because you don't need to worry about who is managing Bitcoin today? That kind of thing, right? Yeah. Bitcoin is mathematics, it's powered by energy, it's powered by the belief that trust can be a global thing. I think why I recommend so much Bitcoin is that most people are not trained to do financial decisions in general, lah. Yeah. And that's an important thing, lah, right?
At the start, you did say that you plan to run for the next election. So building up to the next election, which will be in the next, 4 or 5 years,
right.
what do you think will be some of the initiatives that people can look out for, and what will you be trying to do?
I think the first thing that I'll be launching around late August would be call for suggestions for EBRC hackathon. For the viewers that don't know, that will be our Electoral Boundaries Review Committee. Hackathon will be in open spirit, finding out what exactly is the value of the EBRC, what is the electoral boundary that is the purpose of it is for, how can we improve the way we draw the electoral boundary, and how can we save costs for town council because of the electoral boundaries. There will be multiple prizes. There will be like no number one, number two. It'll be more start in like category winners. So top prize, most innovative prize for, let's just say, town council cost efficiency. So the way you draw is based on cost efficiency. Then maybe you draw based on equal representation. Maybe you draw based on another prize would be like best ways to save money for the town councils, for like the CDC, the mayors. 6 categories of prizes, and then let people go and hack their way through lah. And then another is open category, something like that lah. The second thing I'll be working on is open town council, a toolkit that anybody can understand how to run a town council. Yeah. In other words, these are contractors. These are what they supply. These are the pricing that they should accept. Why do they charge this pricing? Who are the people that knows how to manage these contractors? Stuff like that, right? Yeah. And then the third one would be advocating for Bitcoin change in Singapore. So people should be able to invest more in Bitcoin companies here. People should be able to recognize Bitcoin as not as intangible asset on their balance sheet here. Given that America has a Bitcoin ETF, why don't we have the same regulations to mimic America? Because that is a thing that I feel is very well established, it's audited, it's regulated. Why can't we just pursue the same strategy? If you want to say we don't go that direction, at least give me a numerical reasoning, something that is pursued by multiple experts. I don't want to hear reasoning that is premised on like we lost money on one or two investments in FTX. I don't think that's a very good argument for us lagging behind as a financial hub.
We mentioned about collaborating, like now it's a lot more in trend. So I want to just ask you, while waiting for the next elections, are you going to be working with any of the politicians on the ground for the next few years?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I've been telling most of the parties that I'm looking to be an NMP first. But even if I fail that bit, because NMP the criteria is not very clear lah. Honestly, it's just there's no quantitative criteria. Everything's a qualitative criteria. So even if I fail in that bit, I think I would still work with independents. So I'm trying to I'm gathering information on how to build out an independent incubator, which is like we bounce off ideas, we share information about what concerns people have recently raised on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And then also we talk about which policies you don't want to deal with, which policies you want to do, and stuff like that. I mean, in other words, it's like a sharing network. It's not a party. For PAB, I am not forming a party. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's more of like this is a sharing network, because if you want to eventually run, you're serious about running, take a bit of time to go through the thing with us, and I'll be trying to get some feedback from former NMPs, NCMPs, trying to get them to like suggest how to get things done. So like it's like an internship right? Yeah, it's like an internship in some sort It's like you get to know the resources you require, the people you need to speak to, yada yada. Yeah, I feel like the resources are calibrated differently. So people need to understand that there are changes. But of course, if you are independent and you feel like you are very qualified to do what you want to do, then you should do what you want to do and that's the whole value of independent, which is like you think so differently from people. And you want to represent people, then you go to the ballot box and find out how well you are and as I found out I was not good enough.
Well, it's really very good, honestly.
No, I mean, but for me it's like I just want to give back in terms of like that subject, letting people what I went through, and then let other NMPs share what they went through. Let other people who are in business, former even MPs share what they've been through. It should be a case of like everybody works for Singapore, not for yourself.
So before we go, could you just let our listeners know, like if they want to reach out to you or talk about initiatives or to collaborate, like where can they find you?
If you want to send me memes, you send me on LinkedIn. If you want to be serious, you contact me on IG. Yeah, either LinkedIn or IG. TikTok has too much spam, man. I go check the inbox, right? It's like 1,000 messages of like, hello, we are luxury handbag replicas. I was like,
What?
So I don't know how to do that. And I only started using TikTok this like maybe end of last year to this year only. So to me it's like but TikTok is great for live stream. If you guys ever want to do live stream, we can do it on TikTok, and I think that would be great. Yeah, because TikTok I've seen like I do a live stream once, I feel like few thousand people showed up.
They gather that views, the viewership. So
I have to say you have to admit that you are sort of an influencer, because we did our podcast for 2-3 years, right? Our followers is like 1/3 of your followers when you only start your Instagram account. Like I don't know the past year.
So I don't give any influence. Maybe I don't know KOL whatever no rubbish But I don't think I have influence yet
Okay.
KL. KL. I think right term KL.
Anyway, thank you so much for the interview.
Thanks so much, guys.
And I think I really wish that all the best to you and your next 4-5 years, and we will see your next elections and see where you're running. Then I see whether you will be in my area.
Will be your voice.
Where they draw is where I run. It's not where I decide.